So how observant are you? When you meet someone for the first time, you should be scanning everything about them that you can, because these are clues into who they are. My job today is to get you to think about being more relatable to the other person. And you can't do it if you're not observant. Also, I want you to read the nonverbal signals. The body is covered 90% by clothes. We can use those clothes to communicate for us, but they're also huge clues into that other person. John wears very little jewelry, if any. That is a clue to who he is. He's pretty simple. Not into, but if you look at me, I always have bling or lots of jewelry on. I remember teaching these kids about image. I don't know how you teach 7 and 8 year olds image, but they asked me to do it. And one little girl raises her hand. She says, "Why do you have so much jewelry on?" I said, "Because I like it." That's a clue into who I am. Colors of clothing, the types of clothing tell you enormous pieces of information about them. Start recording that in your brain, because it's information you can use to help build that relationship. Okay, and you know, we're talking about Facebook and social networking. Those photographs that you put on your Facebook page and the way you look in your pictures speaks volumes. Is it speaking the kinds of things that you want it to speak? All right, so in a normal, and go ahead and take notes when you need to here, but this is important. In a normal two-person conversation, the verbal components carry less than 35% of the social meaning of the situation, and more than 65% is carried by nonverbal communication. Studies show that at least 65% of people are visuals. So the visual component of your message is very important. And if it doesn't align with your verbal message, you could be leaving money on the table. And in this economic time, do we want to leave money on the table? No. We don't want to leave any stone unturned, because those are people that we can help. And it's not just about us making the money. It's actually helping others get what they need. And whenever, as Zig Ziglar says, whenever you help enough people get what they need, you also get what you need. So it's really important to always keep that in mind, because we human beings leak all kinds of information, and then we broadcast it to the world around us. I have a story. I was teaching for a company in New York, and I've been teaching with this company for 5 years, same material. I'm a commercial makeup artist by trade, and they were a large makeup manufacturer. They make for the major department store brands, and I was teaching a class. I was also going through divorce. I am in New York City. You know, if I'm a little rough on the edges, it should be okay there, right? Mm-hmm. So I was teaching this class, the same material I've always taught. It was one of my own that I'd written, no problem. Except that my assistant neglected to tell me that the women were trashing me in the ladies' room. Now, if you got an assistant, hopefully they're saying, "Hey, word is they don't like you." I've never bombed a class for this company before. And all of them were going to request their money back, and half of them knew the owner of the company. Not so good for me. Now, this was back in the time that we had the phones on the airplanes, you know, in the back of the seat. I'm calling the lady who books me. "I just bombed a class." What happened? It was a class I've taught 1,000,000 times, but it was divorce, and I leaked it all over them, and I threw it all those people in the front row. And I didn't know I was doing it. I had no idea. I thought I was being nice.
Were you trashing men?
Yeah, I just spewed all kinds of nonverbal stuff on them they didn't want. Now, we all have problems that we have to deal with. And the trick is to put that somewhere else so you can do your job, or so you can take care of the people that you're trying to take care of. I spewed divorce all over those people. In a UCLA study, it shows that 55% of your message is appearance. I proved that to you right here. 55% of the message. 38% is the tone of voice. So they come in and now they speak to you and you go, "Oh, nice person, not so nice person." And 7% is the actual words. Now, I have speaker friends who say, no, I write really good speeches. I'm worth more than 7%.
No.
So let me show you a little exercise here. Another little story. When my husband and I bought the house we live in, I've never met a man who cared where the glasses in the kitchen goes, but he did. I wanted them in this cabinet, he wanted them in that cabinet, and we were having a little discussion. Now, the discussion was probably a little more heated than it needed to be. You know how moving is, it's kind of stressful, and so we're discussing this. And finally he says to me, I'm not mad at you. Is he mad at me?
Yeah. Of course.
Well, why do you say that? He said, I'm not mad at you.
Because
The body language.
The body language, the tone of voice. The words meant nothing at that point, right? What if he'd said, I'm not mad at you?
Right, then you know he's not.
Same exact words, different delivery, different body, different message. That's why I say the body has to align with the message or you have a disconnect. And in these times, you can't afford a disconnect. I'm going to teach you some tools to help you with that. Okay, let's talk about building relationships. Because it is about the relationships, would you agree?
Yes.
Because once you develop that relationship, you want to keep it, right? So this isn't about just getting new relationships, it's keeping the old ones. You don't want somebody else sneaking in behind you and taking them from you. This is about building relationships. First of all, you have to understand how you perceive yourself, and I'm going to help you with that in just 2 seconds. And then you have to, in order to build the relationships with others, you have to actually think about how am I going to build the relationships. Who was talking? Was it Jim talking about building a customer profile off of Facebook? When I work with companies, I figure out what their business is and I help them develop customer profiles, things that they can ask that customer along the way that will help them relate better to that customer. Facebook is a great place to find information so that you can start building that relationship. And then your thoughts and feelings and beliefs and sense about yourself are not reflected in only what you wear, because they are reflected in what you wear, but also in your body language. Okay, so here's what I want you to do right now. Let's talk about how you perceive yourself.